ESL One. And we're getting ready to head into our last showdown. And it's none other than the absolute favorite, Fnatic versus Luminosity. I'm joined by two fans, as always, here in the audience that have been duking it out, enjoying everything that's been going on today. Let's start here. Ian, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing really great. Thanks.
Now, Ian, you're wearing a Fnatic shirt, but this is actually a special one. Can you tell everybody watching at home who gave you this shirt?
This was actually given by Devilwalk and Olafmeister at Gfinity. So they came up to us, and there was a small group, and they handed out us these shirts, which is amazing. Which is amazing.
We've had some Red Bulls. We're having fun here. That is a cool story. Olafmeister, of course, an absolute hero. You're going for Luminosity. Who's your favorite player?
Fallen.
Why?
His soft skills. He talks to Gibbon a lot.
Now, where are you from?
Sweden.
What made you come here?
I don't know. to hang out with you guys.
Well, we absolutely love having you. And of course, the good people that always love having these guys are our friends from Red Bull. So we have some gifts for you guys. Like all the players up on the stage, they have their Red Bulls in these awesome Red Bull holding cans. So there's one for you. Our assistants will hand these out right here. Of course, if you're watching and you want all sorts of awesome ESL One action, you can head over and get yourself tickets for when ESL One comes to New York later this year. Madison Square Garden. You don't want to miss out on it. These guys trekked here to Cologne. You can come hang out with us in New York. And of course, that's not all. There are stickers for your favorite players. He's going to want Olafmeister. Who did you want? Which sticker did you want?
I want Pharaoh.
There you go. And of course, there's always lots of swags. ESL t-shirts, take these, please. Enjoy them. Thanks for hanging out with us. And of course, drink a tasty Red Bull. It's always good. For now, it is time to go and see our reigning ESL One champion. That is Fnatic. And the guys who are going to know everything are our experts. And they're led by a man who is fearless in every way. And I call him the Chobra Commander.
Thank you very much, Sean. I really wish everything you said about me was true, because that would make me unstoppable. And unfortunately, it's not. But I've got three trusty gentlemen here at the NVIDIA Expert Desk. We're down to one quarterfinal. Finally, we're down to the last one. But of course, not over just yet. As Sean mentioned, defending champions Fnatic coming in against Luminosity.
Yep.
A bit of an unexpected matchup, to be honest, isn't it, Cadian?
It is. I don't hope we need Red Bulls for this one. I hope for excitement. I hope for 3 maps. I hope that things is going to go down and everything is going to be crazy, because we don't want any more of these 2-0. It must be time for these underdog teams to step up, give the big contenders a fight. We know what Luminosity can be capable of, especially if Fallen and Fur is on point. So,
well, we know what they're capable of, but we know what Fnatic are capable
Yeah.
of. And they've shown that twice at this event, 2 16-2 results, and not even dropping more than 4 rounds. So, although I love the idea and the romance you're presenting here, I just don't really believe
You're just taking words out of my mouth. Now what am I supposed to say? I'm usually the one that's like super optimistic and hopeful, like, well, you never, but you took it away. I'm like, well, I don't know, Katie, let's calm down. Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
okay, so what I want to say is, if Luminosity is on point and Fnatic is maybe on the B game, we have a chance. I mean, most likely things won't get as exciting, but I have some small idea that Luminosity could actually take a map. I know I'm going against every odds there is out there.
Well, it's not the worst idea in the world.
No,
so they take Kingwin down 16-6 on overpass, very convincing strategic play from there, and then they've played Cobble twice. Lost to Envious on Cobble in overtime, and they're looking strong on that map, right?
Yeah.
So there is a chance they could cause some upsets, but like I said before, Fnatic have seen these maps and they got the veto there. They can just get rid of one of those straight away. So you find it hard to believe. Like, Fnatic's map was so deep and strong across the board. I really don't see this going any other direction than 2-0.
All I see looking down at you three gentlemen is Moses just looking down at Katie and being like, oh, you haven't learned yet, young one. The hope, sometimes it just can't be there.
I mentioned earlier today that we like when we get up to a Fnatic matchup, we don't always want to vote for Fnatic. We like to search for ways. You guys are perfect examples right now. We've walked right into the trap. There's no way Fnatic drops this series.
I mean, dropping the series? Probably not. Dropping a map? I would say it's likely.
I wouldn't say it's likely.
Likely.
Likely, you're getting a little crazy over there.
What map do you think they would drop, if any?
I don't really mind. I just
You don't mind- you don't really mind,
so
right?
let's talk. No,
Yeah.
quickly. Let's talk about the map they took against Virtus.pro, for example, at Katowice, the last major. That was an overpass. Virtus.pro was known for being insanely strong at overpass at this time. No way anyone would guess for Luminosity to do this.
But they've done it again at this event, right? They did the 16-6 as a king win, which I highlighted before. So surely
And that was an overpass again.
the natural veto is to get rid of overpass going into this series.
Yeah, but then again, Virtus.pro. Fnatic.
Yeah.
Too much Virtus.pro hype.
Yeah.
As you said earlier, Fnatic has such a strong map pool that they are allowed to remove overpass if they don't want to play it. But as you also mentioned, they could prepare for these kind of matches. They could prepare for Cobblestone. They could prepare for overpass. And then they will have an easy day at the office.
I mean, we'll have more time to dive deeper into that. But Moses, what do you think? I mean, Fnatic, all I've learned so far from talking to you guys is, all right, well, they really don't care which map they play, don't care who they play. It literally just doesn't matter.
It especially doesn't look like it so far from group stage results. They're showing a form that no other team really in this tournament, except for maybe Envious, has looked to match just from what we've seen. And that's not to take, I know, it's not to take anything away from Luminosity, because they are actually probably one of the stronger underdogs we've had in this tournament. And there is a chance they take a map. Not likely.
A chance.
But there is a chance. But either way, Fnatic, you can't go against these guys.
Just a note on the individual performances and talent they have within that team. We watched him against Flipside last night on decomp. It went to a double overtime. We saw Fallen have one of the performances of his career. He's the in-game leader, dropping almost 40 frags there. He was absolutely phenomenal. He got cold as well. Another young, amazing player, great fragger. Like we said, it's always a cliche thing to say. If they can start hitting their shots, they may be able to do it. But I think they do have a great pool of talent there, and it definitely is a chance at some exciting rounds and some big clutches, for example.
For me, the key thing is I don't think this is a team that's going to fall completely apart in case they get behind a little. They have way more structure than, for example, eBill. eBill got smashed and they ran out of ideas after 3, 4, 5 rounds. Luminosity has set executes. They have the individual skill of players such as Fallen to make the openings, to just run the defaults, do the basics. They have a good arsenal of different things that they can do. Fnatic is going to be in the way because they are so strong, they're going to get a lot of kills, they're not going to go passive all the time, they're going to go out and make the moves. We know how JW can ruin a default, ruin all plans that you made before the game. Yep. The question is, how on point is he going to be, how many chances is he going to take? I hope he's going to be aggressive.
All right, well, we'll have a little bit more of a chance to dive deeper into these discussions. I love that you guys are having a little bit of some opposing ideas, especially Kaden coming up with the big hopefully here. He's like, all right, well, we're in the last quarterfinal. Might as well pump some hope into some of our fans out there for Luminosity. But for now, but right now, let's hear what the players had to say as they were preparing for this match. Of course, Luminosity, a big giant looming over their head. Let's see what they have to say.
The group stage went pretty easy for us. I think the biggest reason to that is because we played like we should. We played like a real team. I think that's why we won our matches so easily. We care a lot about our fans. In my opinion, we have some of the best fans in the world. They have been with us like through hard times and through easy times, of course. So we love our fans, of course.
We are the only American team right now sticking to this tournament, and we proved ourselves getting our spot here, so maybe we can say that we are the best American team right now in this moment, and finally we have the chance again to compete against the best teams and maybe fight for this tournament.
We're all looking really forward to play on this stage. We think this is gonna like outplay every other stage. That this is like a dream come true for all of us. To be honest, I think anyone here can stop us, but if we play like we should, if we play like a real team, we hit our shots and we have fun, I don't think anyone here can stop us.
Last time in Katowice, we played against Virtus.pro in front of a lot of people. It's really awesome and it's different than playing on other places. Tomorrow, I hope we can be not that nervous as we were at the game. And I think my guys is going to be more confident and more relaxed, so we can do a better game this time.
There we have it, gentlemen. Fnatic versus Luminosity. Now, I just want to kind of rewind a little bit, talk about the bigger picture here. because when we were introducing them to teams earlier, no matter what, you generally hear cheers for every team because it's a big moment for all these teams in quarterfinals. And then we saw Fnatic walk in, and it was something a little different than a cheer. But then we were talking and say, you know what though, this is what happens when you're just that good, you turn into a sort of a public enemy.
I mean, there's different ways of being that good. I don't think it's justified I don't think that it's justified for the crowd to react in this way. I think that there has been scenarios, there has been some actions from the Fnatic team that might not have been the most clever ones, that might not have been the best one for the fans of them.
Fair enough.
But surely, I mean, in general in sports, it's just not a good way of handling these kind of situations.
You have it in every sport. It's not like they're being really offensive, right? Like,
I mean, but the bottom line
it's
here...
It's a bit of fun, really. Like
the bottom line here is, though, is that regardless of that, if they weren't that good, quite frankly, no one would care, right? You would just kind of forget about whatever happened in history, whether results or not. But the fact of the matter is they keep putting themselves into the spotlight by being like, hey, we're at the finals again. Hey, we're probably going to take another tournament. We're here for back-to-back majors. That's why people are like, oh, right, this team, you get reminded of whether you like them or not. And they do this because of their skill in the game.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think it's crazy because like this is a level of Counter-Strike that we haven't seen in CS:GO. I mean, the old mantra always rings true. It's harder to stay at the top than it is to get to the top, and these are guys who've been there basically since this team formed for over a year, and they've just been so dominant. 4 of the best players in the world on the squad. Any one of them able to take it over. Pronax, maybe not individually, but can take things over with his mind, with his tactics and his strategy. I mean, this is a beautiful team of Counter-Strike players that need to be appreciated.
I have to agree so much with you, and the reason why it is such a good team, it's just a smooth combination of players, right? You have the mixture of aggressive and passive players in a perfect sense, right? You have Crims, who's so good at holding these passive bomb sites, the semi-aggressive flusher. Then you have the hyper-aggressive guys such as JW. Olaf is also able to take these rounds in his own hands. And then you have Pronax. It's hard to rate him because he has these 4 insanely good players. So you can make the wrong decision and it's still gonna work. But somehow you still have to give him the credits for being able to control them around and make them do their things.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what Olaf Meister talked about during his interview. I said, well, it's not fair to call me the best player in the world when I'm working with 4 of the other best players in the world. So really, quite frankly, we all support each other. Sometimes it's easier to shine that way because you can trust in your teammates on that note. Now, Moses, then, for Luminosity, when we were talking earlier, we were talking about, all right, well, which maps Overpass maybe on the radar for Fnatic. What do you think Fnatic is going to do against Luminosity in terms of the veto? Do you think still there's somewhere where they're like, well, while we're confident on all the maps, let's try to take the slight advantage by either knocking a map out of the pool or securing one?
It's really intriguing because Overpass, it might be an option. Also, Luminosity's shown some pretty good stuff on Cobble, but Cobble's also a good Fnatic map. It's kind of like that trap that Kingwin fell into earlier where they had to play Dust 2 because it's their best, but it's also TSM is just masters on it. I could actually see Fnatic, we see a lot of top teams when they go against an underdog, just take out Dust 2 because that is a map that it lends itself to that Puggy style, lends itself to a little bit more random upset results, and just take it out of the pool, kind of try and eliminate that factor out of the entire equation. But in reality, there's like, even if this is Fnatic versus Pro, even if this is Fnatic TSM, or maybe not TSM, but you know, any of the other top teams outside of TSM who's a little bit of a kryptonite, you still ask the question, what do you take away from Fnatic?
Yeah, and one of the reasons why I always say that Luminosity has the potential upset is because of the maps that they really focus on recently. They focus on Train, Overpass, and Couple. And that's known for being some of the maps where you're able to upset people.
That's actually a really good point, because Luminosity in the ESL Pro League finals actually took Fnatic to overtime on Train. So that might be a map that Fnatic looks at taking out.
Yeah, I was considering that option as well. I think the Train might be removed. I think that's brilliant.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. I mean, at this point, maybe Fnatic just have to kind of dig deep and be like, well, we don't want any of those skeletons in our closet. Maybe even if it was just one match, if they took us to overtime, maybe we'll take that out. Now, when we talk about Fnatic, I love how you two put it, Moses and Katie, you guys said, well, they have to be appreciated just as a beautiful team of players, all 5 players really to be celebrated. Henry, tell us a little bit more about not just the individuals like, oh, well, you know, someone's good in this position or this map is their favorite, but overall, why are they such beautiful players? Where are they coming from?
It's
quite a big question.
There's a lot to talk about, I know.
Oh yeah,
we're opening a whole box
just
here.
To call on it, one of the key things of this tournament has been JW, right? He's found his form once again. He's been a little bit listening, especially at DreamHack Valencia. He seemed to not be firing on all cylinders. Since he's picked up the AWP again at this event, he seemed to be hitting everything that's in his crosshair. So players like him, they've got across the board so much talent and so much synergy within it. So Olaf and Crims as well, they've got such a great combination, like especially on bomb styles like Banana and Inferno. They work so well together, and it's just so hard to lock them down in any sort of situation. That's why we've seen so many big scorelines so far, like 16-2 in both times they've played. We haven't really had to. It's hard to analyze what makes them so good and when they're stomping people that convincingly, right?
Kaden, what about you?
I just have to agree. You look at the bump stage where they play A Mirage as well. That's the two maps they played in the group stage, and both of those maps, Olaf and Crims are playing together. And the interesting thing is, we talked about that it's a really good mixture of different players in this lineup, of the passive and aggressive. And when people saw Fnatic picking up Crims back in the days, they were like, why would they pick this guy up? It doesn't make sense. There's guys like Twist and other guys in Sweden available who seems to have a stronger aim. But sometimes you shouldn't always just go after having the strongest aimers. You need to build up your team in specific roles to make it work.
So one other thing to note as well, Olaf Meister, arguably the best player in the entire planet.
Right.
Probably.
So that's another factor. If you've got the world's best player on your team, it's a pretty good chance you might be one of the world's best teams as well.
And you said that at the desk, he said, I don't feel like I'm the world's best player. You shouldn't call me that. I have 4 good players around me. But when they're in the situation they're in, like with some fans not agreeing with how they're acting, you don't want to go like, yeah, you know, guys, I'm the best.
I mean, true. Obviously, some respectable modesty coming out from Olaf Meister too, but there is some credit also to what he said. Yeah. Moses, what's your take on these 5 players?
I mean, they really demonstrate the fact that Counter-Strike is a game where if as 5 players you can come together as a team, you perform better as individuals. Because all these guys on their different teams beforehand had done some good stuff, had some good performances, but never would have reached this level without each other. And all of a sudden, when they get on this team and they start believing in this, this combination they all have, and all of a sudden they're the world's best for so long. So I mean, that's just that combination of ingredients, I guess, and they've just propelled to any level that they could have imagined beforehand.
Yeah, and we're seeing the results of that kind of dish continuing, the gourmet dish continue to come out from these guys, and you can see Fnatic just completely relaxed. They're joking around. They're like, all right, well, we're coming in as huge favorites, whether people like it or not, into this major as a whole. I want to pose another question. At the very beginning of this major then, when we had the Fnatic versus eBetto matchup, we talked so much about how it could be one of the biggest miracles if eBetto was able to take that map. Now, that was a best of 1. Here, are we kind of painting a similar picture then? Not necessarily because Luminosity and eBetto are necessarily at the same level, but because now it's also a best of 3. Is it going to be just as big of a mountain for Luminosity to climb? I mean, is that really how high Fnatic are flying right now?
I think the best of 3 increases Fnatic's chances of anything. The best of 1 would have favoured Luminosity slightly. I think not favoured them, but they would have had a more chance to actually show an upset there. The best of 3, you can't look at any other result than a Fnatic win. If they do slip a map in there somehow, then credit where credit is due. They've done very well to do that, but Fnatic shouldn't slip up here. It's being purely objective.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, I think the addition of Cold on the Luminosity lineup has made them stronger. It seems that he's brought not only the fracking ability, but it seems in the interviews of Fallen that he's also brought some strategical things to the team. So I think it seems so far that he's a really good addition. Just making a small rewind to the veto, I think that the veto might be Inferno from Luminosity. For me, I don't know if you know something I don't, Moses, but I haven't seen them being that effective on it in the American scene, and Fnatic's known to be deadly on that one.
Well, based purely on the fact that Fnatic's deadly on, but Fnatic's deadly on every map. You can't really ban based on what Fnatic's deadly on, because that'd be everything, and they just don't have that many vetoes. But just to speak about Inferno, they beat TSM. They upset TSM in a best of 1 at ESL Pro League as well, and that was based off of a really good individual performance by Fallen, who's been playing lights out this tournament. I mean, he's playing at a level that we haven't seen him at all previous season of Pro League.
Do you think that them vetoing Mirage, me and Henry talked outside that Mirage was also a map that Luminosity has been known for being very strong on back at the X Games when they amplified this 5-smoke strategy on the A-bomb side. Do you think that them removing that against Flipside was that a respect ban because they know that they would be stronger on so many other maps against Flipside? Or do you think that they would leave that open for the matchup against Fnatic because they are also deadly on, you say deadly on every map, but they're scary there.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's Luminosity vetoing that map. It could have been a respect thing for Flipside, but I think more so as the season progressed, when they moved to North America and they got more practice against teams, they started changing their playstyle a little bit more. They weren't so much based on those executions onto bomb sites, which they had gotten known for, especially on Mirage, just exploding onto that site with all these smokes, wreaking havoc, and they've gotten away from that a little bit.
All right, well, it's time to finally introduce these two teams onto the stage, getting ready for the last quarterfinal here for the major at ESL One Cologne. Let's jump over to the stage with OJ Borg to meet the 10 players.
Let's do just that. Thank you very much, Choba. Thank you very much to our expert panel there. So, as the sun goes down on the Langness Arena, we come here to the final part of the first day of these finals. We've had 3 quarterfinals so far. We've had 1 threat of revenge. We've won 1 very fired up team captain, and we've had 1 swear word, which I love, which means there is 1 quarterfinal to go. Now, if you listen to the experts, this is a foregone conclusion. 2-0, it's going to be a smashing, but this is eSports. And in eSports, what's supposed to happen isn't always what happens. So ladies, gentlemen, and beer monsters, of which there are a few still here, let's get ready for our final quarterfinal!
Last matchup of today's quarterfinal. One more time, make some noise, Cologne. Here they are, the reigning ESL One champions, Fnatic. Give it up for their opponents from Brazil, Luminosity Gaming, coming to the stage at this time.
All right, all 10 players on stage now getting ready to take their stations for one more best of 3 tonight before we move on to the semifinals and finals of ESL One Cologne 2015. Now, we're nearing the dawn of the vetoes here, and this could be really one of the few chances that Luminosity can increase their hopes just a tad bit. I want to ask then, given their experience so far on Cobblestone just this week, right? Even though it did have to go to overtime both times, they made a huge run against Envious, and then they took down Flipside eventually. Do you think in some ways, just because of the adrenaline they've had, maybe they'll try to secure this map? Because at that point, like you said, Moses, I mean, no matter which map you pick, you know that Fnatic statistically is stronger than you.
Well, I mean, even on Cobble, Fnatic's like the best team on Cobble.
Exactly. They played that twice this tournament, and then Fnatic would have seen everything as well.
Right, and it's like I said earlier, it just turns into that same thing, that same trap that Kingwin fell into, is you almost have to play it if you're Luminosity, just because you might feel it's your best map, but they're the best in the world on it.
I feel also when we talk about these underdogs, it's you want to play the opponent's weakest map when you are the underdog, but as you guys also said, there is no really weak map on Fnatic. So what you need to do is you need to just focus on yourselves and what do we really want to play. They showed that they can play up against high individual players, such as the ones from Envious, Apex, Kenny, Happy, etc. And they maybe had the chance to look at, not maybe, for sure they'll have been looking at their mistakes on the game against Flipside as well as the one against Envious. So they should have a good idea of how they want to handle this game. As you guys say, Fnatic are insanely strong in this one as well, so they should be well prepared for what Fnatic are doing as well. If you try to lock down that plateau on B and don't give Olaf any chances.
That's easier said than done.
It's
right?
easier
To
said
be
than
honest.
done, but it's the key.
Yeah.
I think it's the key for.
No,
them
you're
to have a
absolutely
chance.
right. It's a play that can be countered these days. But when Olaf Meister started doing that, no one really knew how to lock it down. It was an anomaly that it seemed he just wrecked every single player up there. But it definitely is viable. If it's their best map, then fair enough. You should probably give that a go. But I think Overpass seems to be more convincingly strong, to be honest. If you're beating teams like Kingwin 16-6 on that map, maybe that's an option for them.
Last major, I mean, they did this crazy boost Fnatic. You never know what's been on YouTube that been removed, right?
Now, so it sounds like whether it's the vetoes, whether it's how you play each map, it's eventually going to always come back to the fact that, well, how do you beat Fnatic, right? There just aren't those holes, there just aren't those cracks that you can take advantage of. Now that on the side of Fnatic, is there any concern that I'm not doubting that they are dominating right now. I'm not doubting that they are the favorites of this major, but also, I mean, their first game was against eBettle, where anyone who looked at the stats would say clear favorite for Fnatic, but we are talking a lot about how they only dropped 4 rounds. Do you think in some cases that our perspective might be slightly skewed on that?
The reason why it could be is because, as you just addressed, it was a heavily favored matchup against eBettle, and then they had a CT side start on Inferno against Na'Vi. When things get rolling in a best of 1, and you get the Molotovs, you get the smoke grenades, things can get out of hand really quickly for the opponent. So, yeah.
I'm basing my opinion on what the individual performances and the skill level I saw them hitting in those 2 games, and I'm just basing it on the current form then. Like, so obviously the matchup against eBettle is a one-sided affair, but to judging on the way they were playing and hitting shots in that game, that's what I'm kind of basing their form on right now.
I mean, we have a huge body of work of the level that Fnatic can hit. So even though we've heard in some other tournaments and in some interviews and from people close to the situation that there were some cracks seeming to be forming in Fnatic for maybe like a month or so. But like when you see the level that they hit at just the other night, 16-2 against Na'Vi, yeah, they started on CT side, but that was, I mean, almost more dominant than the scoreline would even suggest. There was never any, I mean, it wasn't even close. And even in the rounds, it really wasn't.
Yeah, and you ask, how do you stop Fnatic? Most likely you don't, but for the teams that has been having some success, it's recently been mostly TSM.
Right.
And what they have is insane individuals as well, who in the games where they beat Fnatic are on point. And for Luminosity to make a comparison to TSM and their individuals, they are pretty far off.
Well, and also one thing TSM does better than any other team in the world, and I think this actually plays a big part in how they beat Fnatic, is the tough part about them is you can punish those aggressive plays from Fnatic, and they have so many players behind it that will just equalize. They almost get re-aggressive. But TSM can punish that aggressive play and then choke out the rest of the round from there. I mean, they don't give anything back up to Fnatic, and so many teams end up maybe killing JW as he pushes up and gets aggressive, but then you have an Olaf getting aggressive somewhere else, catching him off guard. TSM doesn't fall prey to that nearly as often as other teams.
Yeah, when I talk with the TSM boys about why do you guys win against Fnatic and everyone don't, they always say, just as you said, that it's because they're winning these battles, these duels around the maps. They just seem to win them. And Fnatic has tried different approaches to how they're going to react on the TSM playstyle. And they thought in the beginning that the key would be just not to take these battles. But then again, then you don't play your own game anymore. And TSM is one of the few teams who's having the ability of actually reading their opponent very well as well when they go passive.
They did it this evening. They're so good at that. They adapt their CT setups, for example, to exactly who they're playing. They know what they're going up against, and it's beautiful to watch. It's really good CS. They're willing to leave certain choke points open because they know the opposition so well, and that's what's so good about what TSM do, and that's why they are able to take giants down like Fnatic. But we're not playing with TSM here. We've got Luminosity, but it looks like we're ready for the veto there. So.
Boy, we are getting very close to kicking off the last quarterfinal. Let's take a look at which vetoes do come in.
Yeah, we were expecting the Inferno ban from Luminosity maybe, but then again, we're not too sure. That could be a lot of other maps. Mirage does too as well.
It's such a minefield for them, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean,
where do you go? This Inferno.
It was Inferno, okay.
Good call.
Woo! I mean, if anything, right? If anything, out of these 7 maps that Fnatic are seemingly all good at, Inferno, and then Overpass. All right, so our initial thoughts here at the desk.
That was what Moses said, that, and also you, Henry, that they would have a chance on, if anything, that would probably be Overpass.
That's the map we've seen them be very formidable on, so why not? You've had a chance to watch them be the top team, and you can watch that demo back, and then the guess is that you probably thought they're too strong in it. But.
And Train, I mean, I don't want to say that we're really clever, but so far we've been pretty damn right with the veto. The Train pick was also a clever move, and then Mirage, we talked about in like it's just a strong map for Fnatic, and you're able to control the map very well on this one. In case you should go and fail on having the map control, you always can rely on the heavy executes. It's a good map for JW and Olaf to do double AWPing, roaming with the AWP. They'll have a lot of aggressive moves. Just looking good.
Cash is Olaf Meister's home ground, I'm afraid. That's the map he can go absolutely godlike on. We've seen him do 20 for 0 performances time and time again on that map, so it's a difficult veto for Luminosity, I think, but yeah, one we can expect hopefully a good start on. We've got Train coming up first. We're going to have Fnatic starting on the CT side, and that's a pretty scary prospect, to be fair, as well.
Yeah, but it's Luminosity's pick, so obviously they have something prepared, and they probably felt more than anything that was going to go through. And they've had success against Fnatic on the past, so that could be interesting. But it also comes down to just like the last best of 3. I mean, Train's got to be won by Luminosity if they want any chance in this best of 3.
Yeah, it looks like that's going to be their chance for an upset here in this matchup against the huge giants in Fnatic. I am so glad that I personally will never ever have to worry about playing against Fnatic, because you guys are like, well, this actually, no, Fnatic's really good at that one. Well, this one, all right, home of Olaf Meister. It looks like it's going to be a scary one for Luminosity. Ladies and gentlemen, the last semifinal spot, will it indeed be taken by Fnatic? Will it be deserved by Fnatic? Or is Luminosity going to throw the whole bracket upside down? We'll find out right after this.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It is ESL One Cologne, and it's the final quarterfinal of the night. Fnatic versus Luminosity. I am Lee D-Man Smith, and joining me is Fifth Lauren and good old Joe Miller, the old buddy from a long time ago, and, well, a veteran of Counter-Strike. What do we think? I think the map pool is actually worked out okay for Luminosity here, although Fnatic, you know, are great on every single map.
And that's kind of the problem for me, to say that the map pool in anything regards to Fnatic makes it really, really difficult, because as the expert desk called out there, you know, it's hard to, I think, ban a good map of Fnatic because they've got so many. You're better off concentrating on what is a bad map for you and then banning that one out.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the Luminosity pick on Train just feels like something when they pushed Fnatic into overtime. The last time they actually played one another, and I think this is that they're just basing that off of that one result instead of just going for something that they've been pretty stable on throughout the tournament, which is Cobblestone. Yeah, sure, Fnatic can play that map as well, but don't get me wrong, like Fnatic, they are really good on Train.
And let's not forget Mirage, obviously the second map. That's where Luminosity, formerly Keyed, formerly Kaboom, you know, that's where they launched into the spotlight. That was the map that set them apart, and suddenly everyone was like, oh wow, okay, maybe they're just a one-trick pony. But they've worked hard, maybe they've expanded that pool, but they are against Fnatic. They are by far the favorites for this team. They have just dropped 4 rounds in the entire tournament in the 2 group stage matches. No doubt about it, the Brazilians have a massive task ahead of them.
Yeah, and especially starting onto the T side on Train as well, knowing Fnatic, you will see a lot of heavy pushes from Fnatic as well, especially from JW, pushing into Pop Dog, pushing in it with the Mag 7. I think we're not going to be seeing a very slow start of Fnatic.
Well, here we go then. We are getting into our final quarter-final here in the Lanxess Arena for ESL One 2015. It is, of course, Fnatic versus Luminosity, the big favourites versus what have been a massive surprise here as well. People were saying practice was good for Luminosity, and it's really showed here as well. Looking very, very strong coming into today. We'll see if it's strong enough to beat Fnatic, though.
Yeah, and you see here Luminosity respecting Fnatic insanely much. Just look, they're just playing it very safe right now. They all bought armor, and they're just holding defensively, just waiting for Fnatic to possibly push them.
Solid setup. Where will they falter? Steel and Fallen trying to lead the charge. It looking like it actually could be straight down into Pop Dog. Olafmeister's holding Z Connector. Crim's way back on bomb. JW is going to be the first man they may find as they try and pop around that corner. Cold Zero, you can see, is ready and waiting to go with bolts. JW just holding the angle. Confident defensive setup from Fnatic.
It's going to be a late push here onto the outer side. And we see there already, Crim's going to launch a nade, and this could actually do some good damage. Actually didn't really touch them as I expected there. And we see they're already on top of the bomb train here. Fer going to get the first kill of the game, and the second onto Crim. Can he get number 3? JW was low. They did finish off JW, but it leaves us in a 3-on-2 advantage to the Brazilians.
Olaf set up nice and high. Flusher down low. They have a good little crossfire setup here, and now it's a 2-on-2. It's going to be Flusher that gets pushed, and it will go down. Now Fallen, the leader for the team, to try and get the Brazilians their first round, but it's not going to happen. Flusher will come out on top, and the B defenders come through and get themselves 4 kills between them. A great little retake situation from Fnatic.
Yeah, and I mean, for Luminosity, they actually started off really well. They didn't have any nades, so it all came down to aim duels, and they actually won those in the beginning Fer with 2 amazing frags. They did not get the bomb down, which was a massive, which was a major issue, and then Fnatic just capitalized on that.
So looking into round number 2 there, we did see a good couple of kills coming in. It's Tech9's pretty much across the board here, only Fallen, and we know exactly why he's going to be waiting in terms of cash here. He wants to get his hands on the AWP that he's been so spectacular with so far here at ESL One Cologne. We'll see if Luminosity can pull anything off in these early stages. It's been a fairly slow start for them once again. We saw them moving into the outer bomb site in the pistol at around about 35 seconds. And it seems that they're going to be taking a similar pace here this round.
Yeah, having 3 smoke grenades, so it looks to be just a regular, either smoke outside and just try and get the bomb down, or just triple smokes inner and just try and get the bomb. All in all, the main thing here is just to get the bomb down for Luminosity.
Well, it is a slow, steady pace again. It is a little creepy crawly into B. Now, Flusher and Olafmeister, who just got the 4 kills in the previous round, are sitting on those M4s because of that. And this is a risky play for Luminosity. 39 seconds on the clock already. Running it down all the way. And there's 2 smokes. There's one going out. Setting up. The second will follow. And the first flash is all they've got to play with. Joe looks like they're getting ready to try and burst through down Olafmeister and Flusher. Going to get pressured.
Yeah, Olaf been blind there for a second, but did get a good couple of shots off, but no frag for him, and that means that the bomb will get planted. They do finally start the kills raining in, so it's mission accomplished here really for Luminosity. Bomb is planted, not really expecting them to be able to hold it 2 versus 5, and we should see them fall here. That defuse coming in. Cold was the last man left in there, but as you mentioned, Fifth Laren, aim was bomb down, and that's what they got.
Yeah, I mean, that was obviously the main objective. The second one is to try and kill off as many Fnatic members as possible. They didn't kill a single member of them. So they're Fnatic still with a very good economy. Luminosity, getting the bomb down when you force buy, the main objective is obviously get the bomb down so they can actually afford you up on Fallen the next round anyway.
Well, it looks like Luminosity are going to go for the Tech9s again. No armor to come through with it, and just 2 flashes and a smoke. Meanwhile, Fnatic starting to stack out their economy early after not losing a single man there, like you mentioned. Flusher, is he going to go a little bit more aggressive here? He's got a grenade in hand, but as soon as that flash comes through, the singular one, it gives them all the information they need. Manages to nail Cold Zero to the wall. Olafmeister comes around to join him, and these players combined have picked themselves up 8 kills already. Make that another stack load. Olafmeister, well, as soon as he switches to the Tech9, you know you're in trouble. Fallen, the last man standing, coming through Connector, just straight into the crosshairs of Pronax, Crims, and everybody else from Fnatic. It's a very straightforward 3-0, and it's another 4 kills for Olafmeister. That guy has got 8 kills in the first 3 rounds.
Yeah, and the first test coming in for Luminosity here. We do have Fallen with the op. We'll be able to buy some nades as well. All the other Luminosity players will have smoke grenades also. So for Luminosity here, it's all about not showing Fnatic respect. You cannot do that. So for Fallen's part here, he needs to go aggressive. He needs to try and get a pick or two. If they keep on re-smoking him, just end up using your smokes to your advantage and then either try and get the bomb down outside or do something with a smoke execute inner.
And one thing's for sure, JW is not going to show anybody any respect in this one. We know him as a pretty wild player when it comes to positioning. He likes to get up in your face early and catch you out. This time around was a fairly pensive start for him, just wanting to really feel out what Luminosity are going to be aiming for here in the 4th round. In the first round that Luminosity will have those weapons. Up until now, they've not done a whole lot with them. You can see the bomb there just edging its way a little bit down Ivy. So an outer push here, looking like it will be on the cards for Luminosity. There are 4 men defending there right now, though, from Fnatic. This is not going to be easy.
And that Ivy stack is really going to be vital here. Pronax is the one that's holding it at bay. The second that smoke clears, Fallen will have a clear angle with Bolts and Cold Zero. Does manage to flash on back. Pronax is going to back on through and he gets a little glimpse across. It was a perfect little flash setup, but it's only a 1-for-1 trade in the end and still gets himself down. Fur pushing around. JW in a little corner right now. Cold Zero and Faller. Crims is sneaking up behind them. JW lurking in the smoke. They're still yet to find him. Crims will come through. He gets the double. That's the bomb loose. And well, Fnatic again looking to shut down Luminosity in their tracks. Steal the sole man standing in no man's land over on B side, just trying to save his weapon.
Yeah, should be able to hold this one through as well. And, you know, just the initial hold there from Fnatic was sublime again.
Yeah, and for Luminosity, you saw there, this wasn't the first round where they were very low on time, and they need to make sure that by the time they actually start executing on either the A or B bomb site, that they have more time to work with, because otherwise it's just going to be very stressed. They're just going to throw nades and hope for the best, and that will not work for Team Fnatic. Or versus Team Fnatic, sorry.
Well, a lot of teams have found out that not a lot of stuff works against Fnatic, being a problem for many a team. And of course, this one will have that AK from Steel, but the rest of them just rocking the Tech 9s. 3 of them with the armor. Of course, Steel did survive that last round. It's looking like this inner site will once again be the push for them. Couple of shots going off here, which will sound the alarm bells for Fnatic, and we see they already are pulling JW back over to B, just to make sure that if that push does start to come in, that they have at least a 2-man defense to hold.
That smoke is all that's holding them back at the moment. JW's got himself the perfect angle. Just a little raise. He's going to see this coming. Flusher. Molly is going to slow them right down, but they're going to push on through before it goes down. So that's a good little start. They do manage to find Flusher's head, and they get a quick bit of play, but Crims and JW respond with ease. JW goes down. Now, Furt, key in this round, he's going to try and push on through. You can see his Steel just lurking in the smoke, but Olafmeister up on high. Pronax with the retake, and well, they are just trying to cut them down. Bolts, the last man standing, gets himself a double, and now we're down to a 1-on-1, but it is Crims he's up against, and he's still yet to get the bomb down. 30 seconds, plenty of time to play with. Just needs to slow himself down a little bit here. Go looking for that kill.
Just spotted Crims there as well. Bomb obviously down there. Bolts will be blind. 16 seconds of this round still to go. Bolts certainly got the time for it. And Crims just covering the backside there, expecting that he might get pushed from the side, but Bolts going to get in there and now get the bomb down, and it's now move to Crims. Will he be able to find Bolts out here? Bomb ticking away. Crims really checking every single train. And the more trains you check, the less time you're going to have when it comes to making that final frag that he needs to find here onto Bolts. And, well, he's going to have to make his move now. Will start to rush forward, shooting a dead body there, which will totally give his position away. There was the defuse, and Bolts will peek out, and he will finish the round off. That's the first one on the board here for Luminosity.
Yeah, great round by Luminosity, having force flying once again. Bolts being the one man just rushing towards the bomb site, getting a 4-kill as well, and the other remaining Luminosity players, except for the one going upper, just ran through the smoke, just trying to make sure that Fnatic's rotation did not end up coming as fast. They ended up going down, but again, great round by Bolts.
That's 1 on the board. Let's see if they can make it more. They're going to try and work the way once again, slow and steady. This seems to be very deliberate play for Luminosity, just to slow it down a little bit. Just wait that clock down, look to see if they can get any little angle, any little glimpse. And of course, remember, Fnatic can afford to buy them straight back up. It is flusher on a P90. They weren't in the best financial situation because they had lost quite a few kills over those last few rounds, or a couple of deaths, I should say. But again, nobody showing, nobody peeking, nobody looking at the angles. Luminosity just waiting for that time to tick down to that 40-second mark before they make their play.
Still 50 to go here on this one, so definitely a slow kickoff for Luminosity, and being what they've been favouring so far, but they're going to have to start making up some ground here. We are on board with Bolts, who started to push down towards Ivy, but that was smoked off for him, so no real information gained for him at that point. And now we hit the 30-second mark, and the time really is starting to become a little pressing as Fur will go down in the B site. Fallen is going to look to open up and finds Crims there on top of the bomb train, but JW up inside of the balcony will get one, will get two, with Pronax chiming in as well, but it's not over just yet. Now it is, though. JW chimes in for his hat-trick, and Fnatic saying, we can play this one patiently and shut you down when you make your move.
Yeah, and Luminosity trying to actually do an inner fake from the previous round that they actually did. Fur ended up going down. I believe if they actually got that kill there, you might have seen a rotation coming from Fnatic. But then Fallen with a great kill on the A bomb side by JW, just locking it down. He does that so well, just making sure that they never know where he is.
Full eco coming from Luminosity this time around. Expect to see a little bit quicker play here. Fur with the bomb in hand. You can see them all piling down Pop Dog. It's going to be Olaf Meister and Crims that are lined up. Looks like JW is going to get his head out the window as well to get a little glimpse on this one. It should be simple cleanup duty for Fnatic, and it looks like they won't drop a single frag as everybody is just mowed on down. 6-1 for Fnatic. A very solid start on the CT side, and obviously looking to make it much stronger. Now, Luminosity, I think that was pretty much clear their heads, but they really haven't got a great economy still. You can see they've gone for a bit of a force once again with the Tech-9s.
Yeah, but I like this because the force buy that they're making is so just to make sure they can still buy the next round, and that's the main thing. You see Fallen there just buying one smoke, so he can actually buy an op next round. So this is a force buy that I actually do like.
See if they play this one a little faster than we've been coming to expect from Luminosity, and we can see there quite a few of them slowly edging around towards B. Olaf will spot them, will instantly deploy the smoke, and Flusher might fill his boots here, actually deciding to back away. Heichi and a Molotov will say, Luminosity, you have to wait a little longer now.
Stopping them dead in their tracks. coldzera's actually made the change and tried to back away. They're maybe going to try and sell a fake and head on towards A side, but there's no rotation really coming from Fnatic. JW actually getting a long look down all the way from Ivy. But Flusher does manage to find himself one. At the moment, Luminosity are just struggling to find any angles, any way into sight without basically someone coming up huge, which is what happened in that singular round they won. They're going to go piling in towards B site though. Let's see if they can make it back count.
Nade absolutely wrecking them there. 3 of them down to less than half HP, but Steel will pick off Olaf Meister. Still a long way to go, and still a lot of powerful weapons for Fnatic here to retake this bomb site. As Flusher will get himself another one. JW snipes Bolts in the back, but he might pay for it here. There is a push around the back from Steel. He will get the AWP and say, okay, defuse the bomb, but I'm taking that Dragon Law home.
Yeah, very smart play by Steel. There's no point in just even trying to save the bomb from being defused there. Saving the op will save Fallen 4.7k in the bank, so that means that he can probably, if he wants, even buy one more op if they feel that this is not working out. But for Luminosity here now, you can see the slow play that they've been doing has not been working. They've tried to go into one round, which was successful, but Bolt had to get 4 to do so, and then you saw the inner fake as well. So again, you haven't really seen a smoke outside round yet, just to try to neutralize JW with that op outside.
Oh, they're going to try and quicken up the pace here. Look at first, straight through, bursting into sight, straight into courtyard. They're going to try and rush on down, but they've not managed to get any opening kills as they push on through. Fur does find one, gets the spray down on JW, but JW just turns around and takes his head off. And now coldzera, that grenade will keep them at bay. But it's Pronax, JW, Crims and Flusher, all with his sights still on lockdown. You can see JW on next to no help, but he only needs the one land shot Bolt's going to get the plant down.
Well, is he here? We are going to see them being dropped off one by one, and Fallen will find himself all alone. He does finish off JW. Seen another head there as the flash came over the top, but he's got one up close. He'll deal with Pronax. Oh, missing the shot there off to the other side of Flusher with the slightest of angles will make it count. And Fallen hitting some shots, but the rest of his team were already dead.
Yeah, but I really like to play for Luminosity, trying something new, going aggressive, not showing Fnatic any respect. The main problem there is that they don't get the bomb down. They have the full control of the outer bomb site. Fnatic are actually forced very defensively from Ivy and also Connector, but not getting the bomb down just gets Fnatic in a much better position where they can just really pick Luminosity apart.
Well, they've tried to force their way back into this one. Let's see if they can go quick once again, or whether it be deliberate delay. It will be slow once again, and doesn't look like they want to be looking any angles. They're expecting a push out of Ivy, actually. I can see Cold Zero and Bolts have took themselves in with Fallen holding the angle, but they are going to flash themselves around. That will give Pronax the angle, while Crims has gone fairly aggressive over on main there. Pronax will get himself a little glimpse. Fallen's going to line up the shot, and he will manage to make it count. Now the question is, will they push on Ivy? The rotation is coming from Fnatic to try and cover it off.
Well, we see that, as you mentioned, Crims there. The way that he's pushed up here could be an important factor in this defense for Fnatic. Smoke will finally clear, which means that he will back off and take the angle. It looks like Luminosity have decided that Ivy, despite the single kill down there, is not where they want to push, and they're going to take a bit of a move over, head up into the hallways and down onto that inner B bomb site. 5 versus 4, let's not forget, and Crims has got a bit of a rotation to make if he wants to get involved in the action when that one goes off. We have seen JW take out Fallen to bring this back to a 4v4 as Bolts will actually fall there to Olofmeister, and JW now going to get that AWP into action once again. Can he find anyone? Has spotted the man on upper ramp and will deal with Steel. Can he get number 2? He does. Number 3, not quite there for Infernal. Last man left alive. He's got a massive task on his hands, and Flusher will keep his cool to win another round here for Fnatic to put them 9-1 up. This could be a heavy, heavy CT side for them.
Yeah, and for Luminosity, yeah, you see the timeout coming in now. They got the entry, but they're very unsure of what they want to do. And that when Grims is in such a good position in T Connector, he just called to everyone else. I was like, well, there's no one here, and Olaf, you have control over Ivy, you can't see anyone, and you also can have control over all the outside. And that then JW just rotated back inner, landing 3 massive shots, and you know he's on fire. You can't do that versus a team like Fnatic, especially versus a player like JW, when you know that he's just going to be running around looking for frags. You need to be sure of what you're going to do. You have the entry. Either you do a smoke round outside, or you rush back and you go inner fast so that you don't have time to rotate.
Just the 2 deaths for Flusher so far. Olofmeister and JW both on 12 as well. Remember, Olaf had, 8 kills in the first 3 rounds as well. 9-1. It's, I would say, a predictable score for Fnatic on the CT side once they picked up that pistol round, but Luminosity, they've been trying different things, trying set plays, but they are slow set plays. And like you said, as soon as they got that opener, they were easy to read.
Yeah, and I mean, when they look at their previous round, when they actually just rushed outside, that was a great round because Fnatic was not ready for it. The main problem is that they did not get the bomb down on time. And then just look at the previous round, right? This is what Moses was talking about. When you put 5 just individual players and you have a really great team, JW, who was just peek in the upper area, as soon as he saw someone, he got a flash from Flusher, just jumped down, easy kill, right? And this is the strength of Fnatic. They work so well together.
Well, we are back underway. Let's see what this pause has brought, whether Luminosity can do anything. There's an early flash coming in. Flusher will again back away, but he will have a grenade in hand there, but still manages to get back to the rifle and get the kill. He finally does get dropped, though, to bring us back to a 4 versus 4. Bomb, though, is on the bomb train and will be planted here. So the problem I see for Luminosity is not much health. Fallen and Cold both very, very low here. Let's see if they can convert this one and hold on to the bomb.
Bolts could be key here. He's going to come around Connector. If Crims isn't wise to what is happening here, Olofmeister's going to come around, but that stops that dead in his tracks. Steel up close and personal still. Trying to get a peek around. Gets a little glimpse of Pronax. The spray down not quite working. Fallen doesn't land the shot. And JW, clean up duty. is working well for him. The defuse will come in from Crims, and that is going to make it 10-1 for Fnatic. It is a great start from them in the quarterfinals.
Yeah, for sure. And Flusha not going down in the first case scenario there. It's just Luminosity. First of all, the Molotov, he almost killed 2. And then getting the bomb down, it doesn't really matter if you try to push them at that point in time, because when Flusha doesn't go down ASAP, you can't even push, because Fnatic, they're already in CT connector just waiting for you.
Well, Luminosity being helped out here in terms of money, so it's going to be AKs across the board for them, and looking like a bit more of a pacier move once again. Molly will go down, and JW is going to be looking for the shots. Did land one onto Fallen, but Fallen still gets his shots off to kill off JW, but that's May just going to be all she wrote here. Cold did get one back as well, and gets himself a second, so not completely over. We're down to a 2 versus 1. Steel, who's got almost full HP. 1 smoke and 1 HE grenade as well. But the bomb down, and Crims is actually behind him now.
Flusha on the rotate to 1 as well. He's going to come around, and Steel's going to get caught completely unawares here. Unless he turns any second now, it doesn't matter. Crims does it for him. And that was, again, very well played by Fnatic. They got down to that 2v1 situation and used it very well. 11-1 Fnatic still just dropped 5 rounds in this entire tournament. It's their 3rd map so far. They are looking very, very good.
Yeah, I mean, throughout this whole tournament, Fnatic has looked unstoppable. Even here, you see the team play from Fnatic. 2-on-1 situation. As soon as Crims saw the one player down at by Ivy, Flusha just instantly peaks. They're always trying to help each other out, which it's so difficult to play against. And for Luminosity, first of all, yeah, they tried something. They tried the aggressive round once more. It doesn't work. It doesn't really work out. And now you just have to look for options here, and you need to land your shots.
Well, we see that Bolt is down to just 2 health from the start of this one. I think got legged there through the smoke, and the grenade almost finished him off. But again, not the ideal start for them, not the ideal loadout that they have either. Those 3 Gildils and a Tech-9 for Fur. And again, 2 men holding this inner site with Flusha and Olaf, going to make it difficult for them to actually get back around. Pronax will be pushing off towards T-spawn, and that's going to tell them, okay, they're not pushing out, or they're not in T-spawn. They must be coming either sat by ladder and will drop down, or where are they going to go? There is Flusha actually pushing up, so they know exactly where Luminosity are now. We'll push around, and Steel gets a frag back.
Gets caught out, and that's going to force JW back. Hofmeister, though, giving him cover. Overwatch fire. Pronax and Crims holding A site. They've managed to dive down to Pop Dog, but coldzera and Fallen haven't got themselves 1 and 2 as Olafmeister suddenly all alone on B site. Now the rotation coming in. The bomb plant will go down from coldzera. And Olafmeister, how is he going to work this one? He's played magnificently throughout this tournament. You'd expect him to try and get a couple here, but he doesn't manage to land the shots on coldzera, and that's already giving problems. He's going to fall back, but Fallen's holding the angle, and he will get him down. The 2nd round on the board for Luminosity. They've got to get what they can. And for a moment, Fifth Lauren, I thought they'd absolutely fluffed it again. Just as Pronax pushed through, he saw Fur. He backed all the way down from T-spawn, tossed himself a long-range flash to try and sell the fake, but then they were so slow at B again.
Yeah.
I thought they'd done it again.
Yeah, and I mean, Flusha, he was the one actually peeking, so it actually looked a little bit like a throw round from Fnatic. Overly aggressive, just peeking 1 by 1, not really the same Fnatic we saw.
Well, JW has already pushed down. Ivy here misses actually that first shot, and will have to try and smoke himself out. There is the Molotov going to come in. JW actually just out of range there, tucked in the corner. So he's still sat on full HP and may have a peek. Decides he's actually going to hop his way out of there just so he's safe. And actually, if you look down the health, it was a nice little start this time for Luminosity. But again, it's a slow one.
This is something that Luminosity have tried the last, 4 or 5 rounds running now. They clearly feel there is a weakness at Ivy that they can try and do anything with, but JW down to 9 health. It's possible now. They could force him back. Pronax has been the guy that's been covering off with JW. They've both been tagged, and they're being persistent. They're sticking around here, but the clock is still ticking.
Yeah, but look at the way that Fnatic's playing. Look at how they're very defensive in their approach here. One CT window, 1 A side, 1 back of Ivy. Even if they go out Ivy here, Fnatic, they had 4 members just stationed.
Well, there is the push down Ivy. The flash will blind them. The Molotov is going to burn away a little bit of damage for them. Smokes have come in. There's only 20 seconds of this round to go. They need to start making a move here towards the bomb site as Olafmeister and Pronax are both going to get in on the action. Crims will come in there as well. Finally, a couple of kills back, but only 9 seconds to go. They need to move now. Fur on the bomb site itself. Fallen was trying to plant, but Flusher comes in with a double, and Fnatic will bounce right back into this one at 12-2.
Yeah, and again, Luminosity taking so much time, and the main reason for that is because Fnatic, they don't see any other Luminosity members around the map, so they're wasting all of their nades basically on Ivy, and it would just cause Luminosity to be so slow to actually go outside and execute to the bomb site, and by then it's 20 seconds left. There's no way you're going to be able to actually get in, kill a few people, and plant the bomb, and then still have time to actually good positioning.
It seems to me that Luminosity have just decided, it's like, okay, we're not going to outskill them, we're not going to outpeak them. We just need to try some tactical prowess, but with a consequence of that, they're not peeking anywhere. They're not giving anything away, and Fnatic are just happy to sit passively and we'll let them come at them with the clock ticking. This time around, they are going to try a little bit of pressure on B side, but Flusher's having none of it, and quite happily will back away with the support of Olafmeister. It has been a very testing first half for Luminosity, no doubt about it, and again, just trying to find anything. Fallen trying to rally his troops, but with only a Tech 9 in hand, it's going to be very tricky.
Key is to keep their spirits up here if they want to stand any chance in this best of 3, to be honest. Already 12 rounds against them. And this final round still having about 45 seconds to go. And again, a recurring theme from Luminosity. Leave it late and try and get in there for that last second bomb plant, and they're going to do exactly that once again. There is Flusher actually connecting a lot onto the train, but he will now readjust. Bolts will take him, but Olafmeister is there once again. They've brought JW in. He will switch out to the CZ here, does some decent damage onto Fur, but doesn't get the kill, and Fur will actually make them pay for that one, taking down Olaf, and it's now a 4 versus 2 real chance here for Luminosity.
Nicely done though from JW. The retake is on. Pronax trying to lead this charge and gets himself a spray down. Now we're down to a 2-on-2. Fallen tucked in at that bomb with that molly burning just around the side of him. Cold Zero did manage to take Crims down. He was on the rotate of Pop Dog, and he's going to get himself JW down. If Crims had got around there, he'd have been completely around the back of the team, and it would have knocked that Luminosity attack dead in its tracks. But as it is, they rescue a 3rd round. That's all they're going to get from the half, but it's better than nothing.
Yeah, good round by Luminosity, just taking advantage of the fact that Flusher was all alone on the inner bomb site. And Flusher had a very bad position. I don't think that he actually looked into that position before coming into this game, because that train just ate all of his bullets. If he would have looked into it before and it would have actually worked, he would have probably killed off 2. But because of the fact that the train just ate all the bullets, he didn't have any bullets left. They rushed him, he died, and then they had the whole bomb site. You saw Fer, and they just kept on pushing because the other Fnatic members, they were nowhere to be found. Getting the bomb down, 2-on-2 situation, they managed to capitalize on that. So overall, just the half in general, Fnatic obviously very dominant. They seem extremely unstoppable. At least Luminosity broke the record for this tournament. They got 3 rounds so far, and that's that is a record for Fnatic. So, but yeah, I just don't see Luminosity coming back from this. Knowing Fnatic as well, you're going to see a very, very aggressive approach here coming into this, their T side, and a very aggressive pistol round.
Oh, we look down the Fnatic scoreboard, and it's everyone performing here as well. That's the scary thing, you know. If there's one star player and you manage to take him out early in the round, you think, okay, that can boost your spirits a little bit. Maybe we can get past this now, but everyone over 10 kills, being led the way here by JW and Olaf with 15, Flusher with 14, Pronax on 12. So real great team performance here, as we've come to expect, as we've already seen in the game so far from Fnatic. As you mentioned, a massive uphill struggle here, at least in map number 1. Of course, this is best of 3 now in the quarterfinals. We'll have Mirage coming up after this, and a possible 3rd map on Cash if we were to get that far.
Yeah, and coming over to this T side here for Fnatic, this is Olafmeister's little baby here. Just on a particular T side, he does whatever he wants on this map. He can run outside T main, he can run Ivy, he can just take abuse of the fact that if Luminosity does not go aggressive, you're going to see Olafmeister everywhere. And on their CT side, you saw JW, he was everywhere with that op, and it was really close to stop him.
Yeah, JW has been hitting a lot of shots so far. Really untested, and he's been up against Fallen, we saw in that round, Guardian before. That was a domination score. So far, seemingly putting a lot of people at bay. But here we go. Pistols. Flush again, a little peek around the side. There's a big stack around Pop Dog, so it does look like it may well be an A hit, unless they're going to try and switch it around here, maybe sell themselves a flake over at B, but it's Bolts that will get the first kill of the round. It is going to be Pronax that goes down, and now the 4 stack on A site from Luminosity is holding steady, and that's where they're going.
Yeah, optimistic little start there, really, getting Pronax down. We'll see, though, if they can hold the push once it does start to move in. There's JW taking a couple of hits. He's actually watching over to main there, and Fur will be able to drop him. So only 3 men remain for Fnatic, one of which is Flusher, who just peeks out, spots 2 men and says, I think we might need to change up the plan here. I think that B-bomb site is where things are going to be. But you see there are 2 men in connector there, which is going to mean fast rotations for Luminosity.
And they quickly spot them. Bomb plant will come in from Olaf Meister, so good little reaction play there from Fnatic. Fallen gets a good tag down on Olaf, but not before he gets around. Went for the reload, but that was a very easy headshot to Fallen. Wasn't looking across the side there. Still will get a quick response, but Crims is going to try and hold steady as he catches Bolts coming through the smoke, but will not come out on top of the duel. Flusher will fall, the defuse will go down, and Luminosity get themselves the 4th round on the board in the exact C-side pistol they needed.
Yeah, and a very sloppy round from Fnatic. You had Pronax just die in Ivy, then the remaining Fnatic players, they didn't really know what to do. They were supposed to go inner, but then when Pronax started, like, okay, let's go outside, and then Crims called, there might be one in T connector, please cover for me, and then JW died because he was covering, and then just ended up rushing inner. And so they lost two men off the bat, and Luminosity with a 5-on-3 situation, easy retake on the B-bomb side.
Fnatic now have lost as many rounds in this game as they did in their 2 group stage games. Obviously winning 16-2 both times around. We'll see though how this one's going to work out. Full eco for Fnatic should indicate an easy wipe up for Luminosity. They're going to be moving over towards the outer side. This nade could be extremely dangerous. The push does start to come through. Fur with 1, 2, 3. Can he find any more here as the switches out to the pistol? There's his 4th. Cold will come in at the end and take it away from him. But it's job done nonetheless for Luminosity.
Yeah, simple round. I mean, Fur, it could have actually been an ace. That nade, if you would have thrown it like 2 seconds before, it would have been an ace. But nonetheless, it was a good hold. And it's good for Fur as well. He is one of their key players for Luminosity. Just giving him some eco frag as well, just will make him feel better, and he might actually get some more confidence. So,
now the one trick is here, they've stuck with the FAMASs after a domination from over Fnatic in that pistol, but pistol was all that Fnatic had. They didn't invest anything, and we see the AKs coming out in that 3rd round buy, and might catch a few of them off guard. As it is a tag straight away on Fallen Cold Zero. It does go down to Crims, and immediately problems forming here. There is only Bolts holding A site left.
Yeah, he's now in trouble, going to have to back away to somewhere a little bit more defensive. Olaf's around the side here, and Olaf will be able to take him. So just the 2 men, one of which was Fallen, but Flusher will double up for the finish there, and that was just a massive whitewash round. I mean, Luminosity, I don't think it really got in position there.
No, I mean, it didn't look like it. They just got picked apart on every single position of the map, and I mean, I don't even think Fnatic tried. Crims just dropped down Pop Dog, and I think it was Bolts just walking through the smoke again after Crims just throwing a flashbang. It was an easy kill basically, and this happened throughout the map. Like, Bolts was alley, but yeah, they just seemed very out of place.
Well, it does seem like Luminosity are favouring the Deagles when they can go for a bit of an eco, try and get something. But Olaf Meister, as you mentioned earlier on, is a pest on this map. He can literally go where he pleases, and it seems that Ivy is where he's focusing on, looking to see if Bolts wants to dare challenge him with that Deagle. While this is all happening, it is simply distraction tactics, and it's keeping 4 members of Luminosity over on A site, because B site is where Flusher is currently looming, just around the corner from Steel, who's trying his best to hold the angle. Flusher's going to come a peeking, but that Deagle not in the right place at the right time, and it was a easy shutdown from Flusher as B site is wide open. Fur the only man on the rotate.
Yeah, they can walk into this site now, no problem. There is Olaf Meister still over by A, and will be stopping them even from getting in towards that B-bomb site. Gets himself another kill there. That's 2 so far this round. Still has 12 HP, so needs to be a little careful. Cold with a CZ could take him out, and then maybe steal an AK. There is the takedown. But whether he gets near that AK remains to be seen, because they'd sent one man to defend with that low HP player. There's the deagle from Fur. 1 kill for him, but more will come in. And it's now a 3-on-1. Cold with a CZ. Gonna push on through, and there's Flusher to spray him down to bring Fnatic just 2 rounds away from picking up map 1.
Yeah, and you see all of Meister again there. He's just running around basically looking for frags. And don't get me wrong, this is what he does for every single team out there. So it's not just Luminosity not giving them a run for his money, but this is basically how he plays, which is why he's so good on this particular map. And now here we go. This is basically the last chance for Luminosity to try and make a comeback on this map.
This will be map point for Fnatic if they were to get it. Fallen looking to go aggressive. Flusher trying to quicken up the pace and push around B site, but not going to happen. But look at Pronax. He's already deep into the train yard. Just needs to peek around it. He's going to find Cold Zero up on high. Oh, that's already bolts down. That's just opened it up. Now Olofmeister and Pronax can just push and walk straight through. They're completely around the back of them. Pronax unseen, unheard, straight in there. Cold Zero does get 1, gets 2 as well. Manages to catch out on Pronax, but this site is very much in the hands of Fnatic. The only problem is they left the bomb way back over in spawn because they didn't think they needed it. Smoked off Steel. He's forced to rotate round. Now Fallen has to land some of these shots. Olofmeister's just around the corner. Didn't quite catch vision of it. The timing was not quite there, and Flusher will get the plan down.
Can't see them doing, or even maybe trying for this one at this point. I mean, obviously, Fnatic to finish will go up to 14. It is still a 2 versus 3, so it's not wholly impossible. But they need some incredible individual play here out of Steel and Fallen. And you look at Fallen in particular, considering his form so far this tournament. And it looks like they've decided, okay, we're not going to be able to pull this one off. We need to push out, try and hold these weapons, and then go for an overtime.
Yeah, and Fallen just actually picked up the kit as well, so they actually didn't have one when they started retaking. And Fnatic, Pronax just rushing out T-Connector, Olofmeister basically just rushing down Ivy, getting the entry straight off the bat. They had no idea that Pronax was actually even outside, so close to the bomb site. He got 1, he managed to go down, and then Olaf just... overall, this is what I'm talking about. Like, Olofmeister, he's everywhere on this map. Even Pronax are allowed to do stuff, and that's not something you usually see.
And when you see a result like this, you got to think, well, this was Luminosity's map pick. They either had something in their mind, or it was based off that single result, as you pointed out, where they took them to overtime. But clearly, Fnatic not faltered throughout this tournament, seemingly untested so far. They managed to steal their way half a way in towards the semi-final. Fallen does manage to get the first kill on towards Olofmeister, and now they're going to try and push on through. Steel has to hold them at bay with JW. He is not missing today. Steel, though, does manage to get things in their favor. Fur on the fast rotate, trying to get around the back there, but Pronax and Flusher are just going to gun down the B defenses. Fur's going to come around, but JW is in no mood to let them slip. And it will be a very simple 16-5 for Fnatic. They made it look easy in their first map. Can they close it out in 2?
Yeah, very dominant performance by Fnatic. And you see they always have their flank covered. They have every single position covered when they hit the bomb sites, which again makes them so good, and it's so hard to play against. And for a team like Luminosity, maybe they had an approach coming into the game, and maybe they just felt like, let's not play Cobblestone because we played it twice already this tournament. Fnatic will know how to play. Let's play something we haven't played before and just try to do something with it. Because in reality, if they have seen Fnatic play on this map, they should know how to play. And it wasn't pretty.
Not pretty, and the worrying thing I think here for Luminosity is that Fnatic don't look even flustered from that one. Just another day at the office, so to speak, and just a very convincing win overall. I mean, Flusher hitting the 20 bomb, Olaf had 21 by the end of it, and across the board, they were just hitting shots left, right, and center. We talked about Fallen earlier on, and I mean, the problem was here that it didn't really get started, first of all, and from there, when you're losing round after round after round after round, after trying a few different strategies, you start to think, well, how do we actually break this defense?
Yeah. Exactly, and Fallen, especially on this map, it's really hard to be a main ARP on this map, especially on the T side, because you will keep on getting re-smoked. You don't really have that many angles to try and get a pick from. This is all about executing reality, and they just didn't really have any.
Well, Fnatic certainly are making an example of Luminosity so far, and well, they've managed to put a marker down throughout this tournament. Let's see if anybody can stop them as we move on to map 2. We'll be back after the break, ladies and gentlemen. Don't go anywhere.